If you've always wanted to own a lakefront property here in the upstate in South Carolina, this is the video for you. I'm going to go through 6 different lakes that are here in the upstate. I'm going to talk about them briefly, and I'm going to go over what the average price of a home is in those different lakes so that you know where you should spend your time and energy and focus. Hi, I'm Evan Whaley, your favorite Greenville realtor. Let's get into this video. Before we dive into each individual lake, I want to give you some overall knowledge. If we look in the upstate area, there was a little over 400 home sales in the year of 2022 that were lakefront sales. If we look at the average price, it's pretty close to $950,000 if you're looking at lakefront for the average. If you look at median, it's around $680,000. There are lakes you can find stuff more affordable than that, and of course there's lakes you can find stuff that are more expensive than that. I'm going to talk about these lakes in order of home prices. I'll start with the lowest price first. We'll work our way all the way up to the homes that have the highest price for lakefront property. And since I'm going to talk about these lakes more at a higher level, I'm going to spare some of the details, but if you are really interested in one of these lakes, feel free to reach out to me and I can answer any questions for you. So first, our lowest priced lakefront property was actually in Lake Lyman. The average person paid $610,000 for their home on Lake Lyman. Lake Lyman is a lake that's in Spartanburg County. It's a little over 350 acres. People really like it for its convenient location. You can live on the lake and you could still be 30 minutes from both Greenville and Spartanburg. You can be close to the airport, downtown Greer. There's a lot of big draws to living in the Lake Lyman area. And it doesn't have some of the restrictions that some of the other lakes have as far as not being able to swim in it and boating horsepower and a lot of these other restrictions that you get with some of the other lakes that are closer to downtown Greenville. So let's go to number 2. So we're going up just slightly. We're going to Lake Robinson. The average price that someone paid for a home in Lake Robinson in 2022 was $612,000. So it's just barely above. One of the things that I'll say about Lake Robinson compared to Lake Lyman is Lake Robinson is an 800-acre man-made lake that is designed to provide clean drinking water. I did another video on Lake Robinson in the past, so I'd highly recommend check that out if you want to learn more about Lake Robinson in general. But just the quick facts on it, Lake Robinson's like Lake Lyman, where it's very conveniently located. You can still get into downtown, both Greenville and Spartanburg, pretty quickly. You have good employment opportunities nearby, and it's got some gorgeous views in the backdrop. One of the downfalls for people is that Lake Robinson, it's hard to find that true lakefront property. They have a lot of communities that are designed with like community docks, but there's not as many just straight up lakefront properties where you have your own dock and you kind of get to the lake. There are some, but there's not as many as like in Lake Lyman and some of the other lakes that we're going to talk about in this video. Number 3, we have Lake Bowen, which is further up in the upstate out in the Spartanburg County area. Lake Bowen, the average price that someone paid in 2022 was $680,000. Lake Bowen is a little over 1,500 acres and it's got a little over 32 miles of shoreline. So Lake Bowen is much larger than the other 2 lakes that we talked about, and it offers a lot of great opportunities for housing out there. Number 4, we have Lake Hartwell. Lake Hartwell is managed by the Army Corps of Engineers, and that's a beautiful lake. It's the largest lake that we're going to talk about, and it goes in both South Carolina and in Georgia, and really goes all the way to the southern point in Anderson County and kind of sprawls all the way up. Lake Hartwell can be a really great option for a lot of people. One of the downfalls that people have with Lake Hartwell compared to the lakes I'm going to talk about next is while Lake Hartwell is an amazing lake and people would love to live there, the next 2 lakes that I'm going to talk about have just some of the world's greatest views. And so when people are comparing it to the lakes that are just a little bit further north, that is something that can be a little bit of a detraction for them. A big positive is that Lake Hartwell can be much more affordable than some of the other lakes that are just a little bit to the north of it. So number 5, we have Lake Kiwi. Lake Kiwi is just an absolutely gorgeous lake. You get the lake and you can get mountain views and it's an incredible lake. And on Kiwi, you can do jet skiing and you can do more high power boats. That's a really big attraction for a lot of people. The homes out there are absolutely exquisite, and that's why the average price on Lake Kiwi was $1.8 million for someone that lived on a lakefront property. Lake Kiwi really offers it all. It's attracting people from all over the world to the area, and they've got some really amazing communities there. The average depth for Lake Kiwi is 54 feet. Lake Kiwi is 26 miles long and 3 miles wide, so it is a really good sized lake as well. Lastly, we have Lake Jocassee. So Lake Jocassee is this really hidden gem. Lake Jocassee has some really beautiful waterfalls that actually feed the lake, and it just has some insane, unbelievable views as well. Lake Jocassee really does offer it all. Lake Jocassee is also very private and secluded. It's designed that way. They want to keep it small, and they only allow a certain number of boats to go out each day to give it that more intimate feel. What's challenging about Lake Jocassee is there's only 37 properties that are waterfront. Even though it is a large lake, they did that intentionally. It's really hard to find an opportunity to buy a house on Lake Jocassee, and when you do, it's going to be several $1,000,000. But for someone that really wants a lake that offers it all, has that seclusion, Lake Jocassee is the perfect place to be. I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop a comment down below on what lake is most attractive to you, and I'll do a feature on that so that you can get more information on it in the future. Also, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe so that you can see when we release more new content.